All right. Welcome, my MGTOW brothers. I know that there's nobody here right now, but that's just fine. Mouth Gay Babe and I are going to talk tonight about broken promises and lost dreams. And what I mean by that is when I was growing up, I was, you know, looking around society, listening to my folks, and seeing everybody around me happily married, growing families, growing old together, building generational wealth. All the TV shows, you know, were primarily made up of married folks who had a happy life. There was a couple of shows where feminism had started to creep in with, Alice. Remember Alice? Ape?
Yep. Kiss
Yep.
my grits. True Blood.
Kiss my grits. That's right.
Single empowered mom.
Raising her son. Yep. And there wasn't too much of that kind of stuff, and it was unique if you ran into a kid that had divorced parents.
I was that kid.
Yeah, but most people had intact families.
Yeah, my mom and dad got divorced in '74, so I don't have any memory.
Unheard of.
Yeah,
it still was rare.
It was a lot rarer than it is today.
Yeah.
And if you went back another decade before that into the early '60s and '50s, it was even rarer.
Very much so. Very much so. And I believed that's what life had in store for me was wife and kids, grandkids. By the time I'm ready to retire, I could leave a substantial nest egg to the next generation. And you know, with the way things are working, I saw a good portion of the wealth that I built during my most productive years flushed down the fucking toilet. And that was not my choice. You know? So
That was somebody else's choice.
yeah, absolutely. So it was a broken promise. You know, you take your marriage vows. It's to have and to hold through riches and poorness, sickness and health, till death do us part. That shit just doesn't happen anymore. Feminism has killed the fucking dream. Feminism killed the family.
All part of the plan.
Yeah.
Destruct the family.
We've
got quite a few people in here now. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to everybody. Who do we have? We've got Hammy,
got Frost.
Supreme.
Hammerhand is in here. Hello, Hammerhand.
Absolute knowledge speaker. Andy. Frost. Everybody showing up.
You're seeing Raw's in here? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there is Hammerhead. Hey, Hammer.
Yep.
So, anyways,
he probably thought you were going to be playing D&D.
It's all gone. Yeah. D&D is on Saturdays from 12:30 Central till around 4. And if anybody wants to listen in on the D&D. Hey, and Doug Edwards is here.
Hello, Doug.
So, and ever since Hammer did that one stream where he had the Filipina P, talking about how there's traditional women still left in the Philippines, and there's all this talk about the passport bros going overseas to make their families over there now. Do you think that's going to be a broken promise too? Because I've looked at a bunch of these like Filipino videos, and about half of them, the women seem kind of feminists. You know, they're still saying, "Oh, we like families," blah blah blah. But there's a couple of them out there that don't even know how to cook and admit it.
Yeah, and for an Asian woman to not know how to cook, that was a complete failure on her mother, because
Oh yeah,
that's usually a trait that is handed down, and if they have a bunch of siblings, they're expected to help cook and to cook and help raise those siblings. So
right,
that would be
right.
a byproduct of feminism, I would say, in my opinion.
I would have to say that it's a byproduct of second generation, at the minimum, feminism that's over there.
Yeah, I don't think they have the uh what was it, 1917, 1919? When did they get the right to vote here?
Oh,
When was it? 19th
1919.
Amendment? 1919?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in 1919, in the Philippines, they were probably still hacking each other up with bolos. You know,
Possibly.
they weren't nearly as far down the feminist pipe that we are.
Yeah. But do you think the brothers that are going overseas are chasing a dying dream over there? Are they going to be winding up in their old age, uh, all of a sudden having the same shit happen to them that would have happened to them in the United States? Also, now they're in a country where they're the outsider and they don't speak the language, they can't own property,
Yeah,
so on and so forth.
I work with a guy that has a Filipino wife, and I saw him at a Sam's Club out of state. Even I ran into him, and he's got a wife, couple kids, and grandma was following behind. But he has a house in the Philippines that bought and paid for, and he's not even going to retire from the railroad. He hasn't been there that many years, but he is going to expat and go over there. And
Yeah.
that I don't know. Maybe it will work for him, but I don't know.
Well, divorce in the Philippines is illegal for now, but they have a huge number of single mothers over there. Huge number.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are trying to get out of. They're like, yes, come on over here and bring us back. But I know another guy that he's retired now, and he brought a woman over from the Philippines, and he's had to take her credit cards and cut them up twice now when she charged 25 grand each time. I personally wouldn't have put up with that. I would have shit canned her ass back to the Philippines. But I asked him when he first married her, I said, well, when she gets her green card in 3 years, do you think she's going to dump your ass and take half your shit? Oh, probably, he said. And I'm like, oh, okay. As far as I know, they're still married, and it baffles me that that's still going on, because he's not making the money. This is a guy that he was working so much overtime. He was making, oh, criminy, what did he make that one year? 160,000 at the railroad.
Wow.
You gotta be here 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. In my jobs, and in my shop, you got to be there to make that kind of money. At least doubles 6 days a week, and all the holidays.
Yeah.
So he's not. I mean, he's probably making, oh, he's probably making 6 grand a month in retirement. But a greedy woman can go through $6,000 a month pretty fucking quick.
Oh yeah. Well, if you if the dream wasn't in jeopardy, and there was a place you could go where the women were like they used to be, would you do it?
Oh,
Where you could have a family, where you could, you know, think about growing, you know, for the next generation, and that. If you were a younger man, at
if I
our
was young
age,
and I
that's
could do it all over again, probably not. I would not leave America. I'd have a hard time leaving my country. I love my country. I hate my government, but I would have a hard time leaving that because most other countries, I enjoy firearms. I carry
if you
firearms, and a lot of
if you
countries that's not an option.
no, it's
And
not.
I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't, maybe if I would have went into the military right out of high school and went to different parts of the world and saw different parts of the world, possibly. But that's a hard sell. I mean, we've talked about it. If I could do it over again, I would have went to Alaska when I turned 18 and I'd still be up there. And
Yeah.
I'd probably be retired because I would have got a job in the oil fields or somewhere where I could have stacked a shit ton of cash, bought a place out in the middle of nowhere where your nearest neighbor is 30, 40 miles away. You know, I could have probably lived like a hermit like that. And there's people that are up there in Alaska that are actually doing that in northern
Oh
Canada
yeah.
where they live
You
on
you can
homesteads.
get free land up there still.
Yeah. You just got to worry about a rogue bear walking around once in a while or wolves.
Moose, moose. More people are killed in Alaska by moose than bear.
Yeah, that's true. And I've been to Alaska and I've seen what Alaska Yukon moose, they're a lot bigger than the moose in the lower 48. I can attest to that. A Shiras moose is not nearly as big as an Alaska Yukon moose. But no,
Well,
so I don't know. You did it, Brandon. What you went to the Ukraine. You married a woman over there. It didn't work out, but
well, it didn't work
would
out for different reasons than what most people have to worry about.
right.
Uh, my second marriage didn't work out because I married a lunatic. But
You married a hot chick that was crazy.
yeah, you got me in trouble again, you son of a bitch.
That's right. That little head just about got the big head freaking yeeted.
Well, that's the breaks. But I knew she was crazy when I married her, and I still did it. That was completely on me. But the second one didn't take me for like the first one did, and didn't betray me and all kinds of stuff. And I'm actually not even mad at the second one.
Well,
So my answer is obvious. Given a chance, I would definitely try to live that dream. I feel like part of my life is just fucking missing. Even though I'm pretty damn happy as a monk, I'm content. I don't want for anything, and it's really the peace and tranquility and freedom is very uplifting, and I appreciate the hell out of it.
well, and I have since I paid off all my stuff, I do have that one motorcycle I got to still pay off, but my pickup, credit cards, I am getting more money every month than I've ever kept in my life, you know. I make good money, but I've actually be able to keep it because it's not going out for house payment, 2 vehicle payments, everything like that. And it's
Right.
crazy,
Plus, you don't have to buy all the useless bullshit.
yeah, and I don't have any extra mouths to feed. So it's, I'm almost 51 and it's taken me this long to get to a point in my life where I'm not responsible for anybody but me. And if I want to go have a steak, if I want to go blow $60 on a steak dinner, I can do it. Not even bat an eye now.
Yeah,
Whereas,
it's nice.
whereas
I did that
before
today.
it was $60, but it was for 3 of us to eat, and it was once in a while. It was a treat. So
Yeah, yeah. I blew some money on a meal today that was really nice. I went and had some crab and shrimp down here.
uh, Kush just got done with a stream. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, he was fucking lit.
Oh, he had that beautiful steak, and I thought he's gonna do it. He's gonna say it, and he said that to that waitress. I was laughing so hard.
Oh yeah, and by the way, brothers, if you don't know what we're talking about, we have a official um, farewell that we give to waitresses now whenever you're streaming, and it's "I'll be coming on down your back now." You hear?
But Kush said it. Kush said it so slow. She could have. She had to have heard it. He said she turned and looked at him and just smiled. And I was howling.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a. I, there's a lot of things I would have done different in my life if I would have known where I was going. If I could go back to my younger self, if I can go back to 18 years old, I would have never
hell
gotten
yeah!
married. I would have never gotten
No,
married in the first place.
no, no.
It would have been catch and
Def-
release only because I spent too many years trying to catch and
yep.
just to get, one night stand, month night stand, something stupid like that. And I think I was looking for it because I didn't have that family, that nuclear family growing up. I am an only child with a single mother. And the only male influences in my life were 2 uncles and my grandfather.
Yeah. And it's not the same as having them, there every day.
Right, right. Yeah. And like Hammerhand was talking about, it takes it, you grow up in a feminine environment and it's hard for a male to grow up to be a man, and not be emotional, not fly off the handle. I still have problems with my anger. Something really pisses me off. It's like, geez, I said it the other day. I said, just shut up. You sound like a woman. I'd said it to myself. and then I chilled out.
Yeah. Well, should we open up the panel and hear what the brothers have to say?
I think that'd probably be a great idea.
All right.
Irish Viking says, my dumb ass was always trying to make a life with everyone I slept with.
I understand that. I really do. It's not, I agree with you. It's not the smartest thing in the world, but some people are
It's
meant to be dads.
it's what everybody has been conditioned to do, though. It was the conditioning. You grow
Yeah,
up, you
completely.
meet Susie Rottencrotch, and you have 2.7 kids and the white picket fence.
Yeah.
There's Kush. He's in here. Catch and release was his policy.
No, this is for everybody, Hemi. This is not a monk only thing.
You have to forgive me. I'll be hitting the mic button because I still this nasty cough.
So, any of you brothers want to join in? We'll take you in one at a time and hear what you've got to say. So, who's first? I set that one up perfect for you, Abe, and you let it fall. You're supposed to say who's on second.
Oh, who's on first? What's on second?
Oh, okay.
And I don't
who's
know who's on third.
Yeah. All right. We have AKS. What are your thoughts, AKS? You know, did you grow up, the hopes and expectations of becoming a dad?
No, I just want to fuck a whole bunch of bitches and maybe have some bastard children and die.
Oh, so you're a Chad Roan?
Pumping
Well,
and
you're
dumping.
smarter. You're smarter than me. You're smarter than me.
Pumping and dumping the finest hose.
He
All
only
right.
drinks from the finest of chalices.
That's some dirty ass hose in New York. Don't be fooled. I've seen some dirty pussy out here, bro. There's some dirty fucking skanks. I'm out here, and not even prostitutes.
That's true. Just regular girls.
Just a bunch. Just a
Dirty
bunch of Tinder.
girls.
Just a bunch of Tinder just a bunch of Tinder fucking high school fucking dick jugglers. Chicks back in high school, bro, they were skanks.
You know, and I'm a bit older than you, AKS, but I'm closer to Brandon than you in age. But in my high school, it seemed like everybody knew who the whore girls were, and there was just a core group of them, and all the other ones were they must have really been on the down low, or it just wasn't as rampant as it is now.
Well, how many people? Well, in your high school or in your city, like how many people? Like I'm trying to figure because like there's a shitload of people. I'm here. You know.
Yeah, I grew up in a town of a couple 100,000 people. We had 9 high schools. My high school had 1,500 people in it.
A town of how many people?
A couple 100,000.
Okay.
About 300. Probably nowadays it'd be about 350,000 in the surrounding areas. But it's nothing like 8 million people in New York.
I had a graduating class of 7.
Wow, mine was 364 or 5.
Yeah. In New York, in New York, you could have some skank in the Bronx. You could have some skank in Queens, and people in Manhattan won't know about the skank in the. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like you could have somebody in a different borough doing like, she could be the town bicycle in the Bronx, and people in Queens don't know who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a fresh start.
Yeah, she could move to Queens. I mean, word might get. I mean, but theoretically, yeah, she was in the slums in the Bronx, and she moves to Queens in a decent neighborhood. Maybe no one will find out about her.
Yeah. So you never had the broken dream of starting a family. You just always knew that you were just going to pump and dump and catch and release.
Well, I kind of got lucky at certain points. I mean, I've banged chicks and busted nuts raw, and thankfully no children. I came out of it. So thank God for that. I was.
You could have got baby trapped real easy.
Yeah. I was in relationships. I was in like a few that were like, some of them were more than a year, some of them were less than a year. Yeah. Part of it. Yeah. Part of it is definitely on luck, for sure.
Well, I had a friend who did the old pump and dump raw, and one day a grown woman comes up to him and says, "Hi, I'm your daughter."
Oh. God.
And he had to figure out how he felt about that. But now it's great. But the mom apparently had lied to the daughter for the whole time she was a child. That the dad was dead, but look at she did some more research and found out that he was still alive. So wonderful shit.
There was a guy here. He hasn't been around this town in quite a long time. I haven't seen him in years. He was a manager or assistant manager of a pizza joint, and I'd drink beer with him. I'd hung out with him and knew him. And one day he gets served with papers for child support and back child support. He had an 8-year-old kid that he had no idea about. And this broad for 8 years didn't say dick, moved away, and then all of a sudden come back and wanted to nail him for 8 years of back child support and nail him on a monthly check. I was like, whoa, I felt bad for that dude.
That's about the time you actually do need to go to the Philippines. So shit like that happens.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Cash, you got anything else for us?
Yeah. I'm going to see Rusty pretty soon. I'm going to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
going
awesome.
down there. While you guys are trying to close it down, I'm already.
No, I'm bringing people in one at a time, and we got a guy backstage.
You want to swap?
Yep.
Oh man. Let's see. I might be streaming when I go down there, and I might be streaming tomorrow.
You're going down there
tomorrow? Great, man.
In a couple of days.
Kush is going to Mississippi.
Oh, cool.
You said Kush?
Excuse me.
No.
Hey, Cass. Kush is backstage. Hey, Cass is going down there to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Kush is in Chicago.
Yeah.
All
He's
right.
in Chirac, dodging bullets.
Yep.
All right, then. All right.
Thanks, AKS. I appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you later.
And when Rusty takes you out to dinner, you've got to say the magic words. I'll be coming on down your back now. You hear?
I don't know, man. I don't want. If that's the only restaurant, I don't want to get my food. I'm spatting. I don't want to get my food.
No, you do it on the way out the door.
You do it on the way out the door.
I don't want. Still, if I go back, I don't know if it's a family-owned restaurant, or I don't know if they're all close, and they're like, oh, who's, and the waitress says, who's that guy? The waitress says, oh, next time he comes in here, I'm going to spit in his food. I don't need that.
All right.
Yep. All right.
All right, guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Later.
Wow. Guys gotta learn how to be.
Howdy, Kush.
Guys gotta learn how to be diabolical, man. Like you said, you wait till the very end after you've eaten your food, and then you say it.
As you're booking out the door.
Uh-oh.
As that. Yep. You guys hearing me loud and clear? I got earbuds on, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good deal. So yeah, I'm in Chicago here. I'm stuck for an extra night, and because of the weather, and I'm here by O'Hare Airport, but my flight got canceled. Now I got to take a flight out of Midway, so I got to drive an hour to the other airport tomorrow. So the joys of travel. Oh well. So I had an extra night in here, down here. So I had to, rough it and get a steak dinner. What can I do?
It was a great stream, man.
Well, I had a good stream with. Go ahead.
Oh, you're just saying it was a good stream. I agree.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I also had a good stream with Polska last night too, and he gave me a little treat. I'll just put it that way. He gave me a little treat. So I am cross, cross, and I'll just say no more.
Well, yeah, we could blindfold you with some dental floss right now. So
I know. I ain't gonna lie to you. No, but yeah,
yeah.
I saw you in the stream, mate. Thanks for stopping by. And no, I just wanted to pop up and say, oh, where you at, Brandon?
I'm in Laredo, Texas. I'm getting ready to drive to Denver tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah, he's
okay.
driving to Denver, and the highways around here are all closed.
What? Because of the weather or what?
Yeah, I think I-25 north of Denver was closed, and some of
Yeah.
them are getting closed up. We're at -7, but it feels like I think we're at -40 with the wind chill right now. So the weather up here is terrible, but I don't even know if Denver's getting socked in or not. You're going to be coming across through the south though, Brandon, so you should probably be good.
Yeah, except for
Yeah,
right
you'll
there
probably miss it.
at the junction of Texas and New Mexico and southern Colorado. That's the only place I'm worried about.
Yeah, and then you got to go over Raton Pass, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one could be tough.
Oh, it was just miserable
But
today here in Chicago. It was just like freezing rain, and I had to drop my French colleague off at the airport, and I'm like, well, I hope they de-ice you, man, because holy crap, I'm surprised this flight was still on schedule because it was getting nasty. I mean, you could see the crystal on the trees and everything, and like, yeah, absolutely miserable here.
Did they cancel your flight because of where you're flying to, or just because of the conditions in Chicago?
Yes,
Both.
both. Yeah, both. Yeah, it's
well,
weather and because Southwest doesn't normally fly to only has like one flight to O'Hare. Normally they fly to Midway. That's one of their biggest hubs. But they do the O'Hare service. But I did that because my French colleague he travels international, and O'Hare's the international airport, so we could meet here. It's just an easy meeting place. So that's the way I did it. But it backfired on me this time, sorta.
yep.
Can't do nothing about the weather.
Nope, nope. Just tough it out here.
Well, tonight's topic is lost dreams and broken promises. And we're talking about how feminism has destroyed the family and how that makes me
Mhm.
feel and how, I want to hear how you guys feel about it too.
Well,
If,
I was listening in. I wanted to chime in on what Ape said. Like I was in a high school graduating class of like 200 students, like kind of the same thing. Small rural high school in Michigan, and like it's like you knew who the town bicycles were. I mean, it was everybody kind of knew it was on the DL. Um, everybody knew that, but there were a select few of them. And I mean, if you were caught associated with them, you didn't dare ask them to prom or any shit like that. I mean, none of that. But it wasn't like it was just rampant everywhere. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I boarded the flight from Baltimore to Chicago. These middle school, sorry, age, they were violin students. The whole plane was full of them, and half of all the women, all of them, middle school age, dressed like total thoughts, all of them. I mean, just like the ones that were like the two or three that you knew in at that time, but they weren't all like that. The whole plane was like that, and it was two different high schools. It was two different middle schools too. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
no
just the way
kidding.
that's. I can't
It's
look at
single moms.
Yeah, it's that, and the same thing. It's like the kids that you could, I mean, you could set a watch to the kids who came from broken uh, households or single mom households. You knew, and it was a select few. There's only a few of those kids, but they were messed up, always getting in trouble. They were the ones that didn't graduate high school. Um, yeah, I mean, you saw the. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was just cut and dry. It was 1-to-1 ratio kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't a, oh, there was this one exception that turned out really well. No, everyone that came from a broken family, they were fuck ups. Period.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
I came from a broken
Um,
home, but my mom rode my ass, and like when I was very young, she would make me read, every night before bed. I would have to read a book,
yeah, that's
to
what my
her,
mom did to me. Yep.
and she would make me do that, and rode my ass through school and everything. And
Hmm.
I found school boring. And high school just sucked because I was grunge before grunge was grunge, because I used to wear loggers, jeans, and flannel shirts. Well, that was in the mid '80s, before the grunge scene hit in the early
It's
'90s, and so I wasn't a jock, I wasn't a stoner, so I
yeah.
really didn't have a niche that I fit into. So school for
So
me just
you
sucked.
didn't have the parachute pants and the pop collar?
I had parachute pants in seventh or eighth grade. Um, One pair, and they didn't last very long. I never had the Michael Jackson red plastic coat with the studs or anything.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was I never had one of those either.
I was the odd white kid out who liked rap music. That was the kind of thing for me when I was in high school. So I was kind of in the same category as you, Ape. I mean, I loved my grunge, I loved my metal too, but I loved that as well, and that set me out. And I was like, I was never part of any one particular clique.
It
You
was
had the
funny
cliques,
though,
but
is that I had friends that were stoners. I had friends that were the
exactly.
socials. I
Yep.
had friends that
Yep.
were jocks.
Yep.
But I was here, and all these other groups were orbiting around, and every once in a while I'd run into one. You know, I
Yep.
never I never had a clique that I went to. I was always kind of on my own anyways. But yeah, it was weird because I could be friends with any one of those different groups. I could have
But
friends with
they all hated each other. Yep.
yeah, they all hated each other, but I got along with all of them.
It's just it. No, you described as, I mean, to a hilt, um, how I was in high school. I could get around. I could get along with the metalheads. I could get along with the guys who, um, who were more hoodish, or I could get along with the smart kids. I mean, no problem, because I was always a good student, so I was always in the higher level classes. So I was like you. I got bored with school. So I had time to hang around the different cliques and learn the different things, and um, that's just, that started my street wisdom there early, young.
So, Kush, you said you were basically catch and release in your 20s and stuff, but was there
Mhm.
ever a female in your life that you thought, this is going to be the one that I'm going to settle down with, and I'm going to have little baby Kushes running around with, and then it all went to shit?
Yeah, there was one in college, um, like when I was like 21 years old, kind of. We were both 21 years old, and we really clicked with one another. I mean, just really, really clicked, and like the same things, um, and just like, I mean, we worked at the same grocery store in college and high school and everything. She was from a different high school, but we went to the same community college together, and we knew each other, got to know each other then, and we always had a blast of a time together. I mean, smoking weed, drinking, whatever. And I thought, after a couple dates and stuff, we we're gonna make it, and then just like certain things I just noticed, um, just the kind of just snotty behavior at parties and things like that, and then when I ended up going to Michigan State University. She ended up going to Central Michigan University. We tried to keep the relationship together, but then it just fell apart. And then I started, I started meeting chicks at Michigan State, and then that was the end of that for pretty much good. And I never really met anybody at Michigan State. Um, it was just the way they got tossed around so much. Um, I just I couldn't find a way to pair bond. I just couldn't find that connection. It just, it was like my mom told me, "Oh, that one's just gonna knock your socks off someday," and that never happened. I mean, just too much behavior I saw from just too much snotty behavior. Even even back when I was in college, the way they got tossed around, and then I'm like, wait a minute, now I'm gonna pay what, $20,000 for this? What?
So would
And
you
then
say that she was the that one relationship was the one that sent you towards MGTOW, or it was you were there already there? That was just something that proved it to you.
no, I think after I left her, I still had, I still definitely had hope um,
Hmm.
of finding somebody like, say, at Michigan State or something like that. Um, and then I still, even after I graduated college, still had that in my mindset because there were a couple of other, like there was one chemical engineering student who I really really hit it off with well, but turned out she was engaged. But she and I hit it off like really well. It clicked really well. Um, she, behind my back, she told me all one day, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm engaged." So it started laying some bricks real quickly. Um, and then when I started my career and moved down to Cincinnati, Ohio first, and then when I was clubbing a little bit, and when I moved out to Massachusetts, I go clubbing, especially when I lived in the hood out there, and you just saw it was just the same broken record I saw over and over again. Methodi behavior. It didn't matter whether it was in the wood or whether it was in the hood. It was just the same behavior. It's the whole AWOLT. I'm a fierce believer in AWOLT. It doesn't matter what walk of life they are. Doesn't matter what profession they're in. Doesn't matter what skin color they are. What religion they are. They all act the same. What country they are. They come from. What language they speak. I've traveled all over the world. I've seen that. I've experienced it. In every language and every culture I've been to, they all act the same. Um, they all have it in their head that I think a lot of the westernized feminism has just poisoned the whole world in many ways. I've seen it in places I've never seen it. I saw it in Mexico last year, where I'd never seen it before. Um, it's certainly become a huge problem in Europe. My French colleague talks about it more and more, being a problem over there. And yeah, that's why I can speak to that. Um, hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you've answered the question. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen it more and more as I traveled as well.
yeah.
When in 2012, when my first marriage ended in divorce, there wasn't a lot of it in now. It's almost everywhere.
Hmm.
So in 10 years, it's just you know like spread like a cancer.
Yeah, it's definitely degraded. The quality of everything is degraded, and yeah, I'm not even looking. I don't like Hammerhand said. Would it be nice to have someone to wake up next to or to share time with? Yeah, but
It would be,
can they
but
take
that ain't
everything
gonna
away from
happen.
you? Yeah, can they take
Not
everything
worth
away
it.
from you? Yeah,
It's not worth it.
no,
Um, no. And it's like even these modern women, they're not even like enticing or attractive to look like. They're just got so much ink, piercings, tattoos. Let's shit on them. It's just there's nothing attractive about it. It's just gotten to the point where it's just repulsive to me. It's like how many if I take a swab of you, how many bacterial colonies are going to draw in that petri dish? You know, ugh.
yeah,
But do you
yep.
have people
And
waiting backstage?
Yeah, I think Shathis is back there.
All right. Well, I just wanted to pop in and say hello. Do you guys have any other questions for me, or
well, you've been
Well,
MGTOW for basically your whole adult life.
pretty
yeah.
much since I was 24, 25? Yep. That's how I
See,
frame when I
I've
started.
only come into this in the last year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, I've been
Mhm.
divorced. Geez, what was it? 2 years now? Yeah, two
Mhm.
years this month. So it's yeah, you get to a point where you just go, you're over with it, you're done with it, and I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know what it meant, what it was. I had no clue, and I just stumbled. I stumbled into the manosphere, and unfortunately, I the first things I saw because of the algorithms and everything is um, Greg Adams, Richard Cooper, Rolled Up
Mhm.
Tamale, all of that stuff, and so they're sitting there talking about chasing women and how to get women, and I was like, I don't fucking want a woman.
No.
You're teaching me game. Well, I don't fucking want game. I've never had game in my life. I caught it when I could and when I got lucky enough to catch it. I never freaking played the game. So I was just like, man, this is
No,
not
I
what
don't.
I'm looking for. And
Exactly. I mean,
so,
when you were in college, you had to have game. So it's like I don't need that shit. And it's
man, I
like
only went to college. I only went to college for a year.
yeah. Well, in college, I mean, when I went to college, it was a little bit later than probably than Brandon was, because I think Brandon's a little older than me. But I mean, back then
Well,
you
you went
actually
to
had to.
college before I did.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Brandon went
Huh.
to the
I didn't go.
Navy first.
So
I
back in
didn't
the
go to
dark.
college until I didn't go to college until after I got out of the Navy. Yeah, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, one of my fraternity brothers did that. Frat brothers did that. He did after the Navy. But no, back in the dark ages when I was in college, you didn't have cell phones and social media. You actually had to go and meet women in the bar and actually have to conversate with them,
Yeah,
believe it or not. So yeah, you had to learn some level of game, or I guess as Fem Sapien says it, throw down the sugar, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean.
God, I could tell you some stories about females in the service, and that
oh,
Barrack bunnies.
every single female I knew in the service was run through.
Oh no, I met a thought at the club here and back in back home in Massachusetts. I met a ex-military. I could tell she was ran through like Grand Central, man.
Yeah, so
Yep.
yeah. I dated a gal for a while that had been in the Navy, and she was a lot of fun. But I got to think, where did she find out how to be that fun?
On a,
In the
on a
Navy,
boat full of sailors.
boat full of seamen.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah. Well,
but hey, if
ride,
you got people,
join the Navy, ride the waves.
Yeah, never leave your buddies behind.
all right, that's like the Stay Puft Marshall, man. This guy's a sailor in New York. You get him laid, we'll be all set.
Well, do you know Let's see. AKS is in here. He'll appreciate this joke. Do you know why there's a bib on the front of the 13 button trouser?
Mm-mm.
That's like the Cracker Jack pants, like the guy in the Cracker Jack box. Anyways, there's a bib on there so Marines have a place to wipe their mouth off.
Oh, hey, Reverend 20 Pieces in here. How you doing, Reb?
Yo, Rev. All right.
All right, if you got other, you got other people backstage. I'll dip out.
Yeah. All right,
All right,
Kush.
Kush.
Have a
Good
good
talking
night.
to
All right, nice talking to you,
Safe
gentlemen.
travels.
Yep.
Thanks. You too, Brandon.
All right. Let's bring in
Yeah,
Shakus. He's been
his
waiting
comment
for a
tonight
while.
leaving the restaurant was a beauty.
Yeah, it was. Shakus,
Am I on?
you're on. Tell us about your broken promises and lost dreams.
Oh my God! How much time do you have?
About 5 minutes for you.
I'll just run my mouth and then you just tell me to shut up. First of all,
Okay.
it's
Shut up.
16. It's
Go for it. Go for it. Don't listen.
boo-hoo. It was
Yeah.
16 button pants. And those Submariners, 106 men go down, 53 couples come back. Am I right?
Hey,
Am I
was
right?
it?
What?
You might be right
No.
about the Submariners, but it was 13 buttons on the trousers.
I could have sworn it was 16. All
No,
I
there's
remember is
13 for one for each of the original colonies.
oh, I see. I always
Yeah.
fought with the damn buttons when I had to pee. I hated that shit.
It was 16 buttons at the club.
Okay, so 16 buttons at the club. All right.
Shakus,
let's
tell
see.
us about your broken dreams. We know that you have a giant cock, so
Well, my giant cock did not assist me in any way with my dreams. Let's see. When I was in high school, I had a high school sweetheart that we were kind of on the rocks all the time, and we broke up one time. And the next day, she came to school telling me that she had been SA'd, graped, as it were, and you know, all hell broke loose. You know, the counselors got involved. Everybody heard about it. The whole school found out about it, and I felt like the only thing I could do was get back together with her. And it was only 35 years later that I found out that she made the whole story up to get me back. So
wow.
when I went to boot camp, she cheated on me, sent me a letter. She was already with Jody by the time, I got off the bus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
She
That was
dear John you on the way to the bus, huh?
No, it was more like 2 weeks before boot camp before she told me about it, but who knows how long she had been doing it, or if she just got bored the same day I left. But
Jesus.
yeah, and then she came back into my life later, and we were living together for a while, and I found out that she was still married to this Mexican guy from Arizona who was in the Navy. And I'm like, "You're still married? Are you crazy?" She's like, "Oh, he's fine with us being together." And I'm like, "But what about me?" And then one day she came up to me and she was like, "I'm pregnant." And I'm like, "Well, I had a vasectomy in 2005. Who's the father?" And she's like, "I don't want to tell you." Turns out
it was going to be you.
It was an entirely third-party coworker that she had been sleeping with on the side while living with me and still being married to her ex-husband.
Jeez.
So
wow,
it was
she
like,
was a go-getter.
So
man.
The only thing I could say to that was, "I fucked your sister," ha ha ha, and hung up on her. And that was that story. Let's see.
Well, you dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. Pew. I had a wife for about 3 months, and we got into a big argument, and she started like verbally harassing my daughter, like really angrily, and yelling at her and getting all on her and stuff. So I kind of got in between them, and she started yelling at me about how I had touched her and that she was going to call the cops on me, and I was going to go to jail for assault, and I was going to lose my daughter, and she'd get the house and everything. And so I freaked out and was like, all right, it's time to go. Let's go, Moira. And I grabbed my daughter and we left. She took a drinking glass, like a regular glass, and just shattered that motherfucker over her own head and went to the hospital over it. And they all, blamed me for it. I wasn't, I have no defense against it. There's, a guy like me, I get angry. I get, excitable sometimes. I yell, but I've never put my hands on anybody first. And there's just no way for me to prove that I didn't do it, and I wasn't even there. So
Jeez.
I lost everything I owned. I had to flee back to my parents' house, quit my job, give up my car. The only thing that I managed to keep was my daughter. I had just gotten her back. Speaking of which, that's another story. My baby mama, what a piece of work she is. She actually tried to sell my daughter to a 37-year-old guy who was, and I told you about this a little bit, Brandon. He was sleeping with my daughter when she was 13. My daughter thought that they were dating. And I'm like, you don't date 37-year-olds. Not when you're 13. That's not dating. And he was taking her to karate lessons, and they would have sex. She'd spend the night there and babysit his kids. And I'd just gotten her back from all that. And so I was really lucky to keep her after my wife decided that that she wanted to pretend that I tried to kill her or something.
So you really have had the broken promises and the shattered dreams.
100% of my past relationships have ended. Yes.
Wow. Man,
I learned a lot of.
You went down a lot longer, harder road than I ever did. I fortunately never had any kids. Wow.
Favored for the grace of God, go I. Jesus.
Yeah. I never learned. Every time I got with a new girl, it was like, she's different. She's not going to screw me over. She's not going to hurt me. She loves me. And then
it's going to be different this time.
Yeah. And then she fucks my best friend who I happen to be living with. And then every year since we broke up, I found out about yet another guy that she was fucking. Well, so for 5 years straight, every year, like a birthday present, I would find out about yet another guy that she had been fucking while we were together.
I found out about my first. I have 2 ex-wives. My first one is a total piece of crap, and I have nothing good to say about her. The second one, I will not say anything bad about her. It's just it didn't work out.
Yep.
And the first one, here I am. I'm new to town. I moved here in 95. I met her in 96. And we got married in 97. Little did I know. Yeah, and I was from out of town, so I was the fresh meat that came into town. Little did I know that she had slept with multiple people that I work with, in high school and out of high school and before I ever met her. And she never mentioned that for some reason. And then after I divorced her, I'm working with guys that I've known for several years, and oh yeah, I slept with her back when this, and I was like, good God. And I had one guy tell me, oh yeah, she told me she couldn't get pregnant, but I must have super sperm because I knocked her up, and then she lost the baby. And I'm like, oh dang, I didn't know about that one. So it's like, yeah, you marry the town bike and you don't know about it, and then you find out, like a birthday present. Every year you find out another guy that banged her out. I have a similar situation to that, but as for your other situations, I can't hold a candle to that.
My last girlfriend was black, and that's when I got red pilled. I had just heard about Undead Chronic, and I remember it was when Trump just got elected, and everybody was freaking out. And I started to notice that everybody was mad at him for winning, I guess. And so I looked into it more and more and more. And then my girlfriend was like, you have to hate this guy, or you can't be with me because he's racist. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is he racist? Tell me something that he's done that was racist. Well, I don't have time to go through that. All white people are racist. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And so she proceeds to explain to me that I was racist by the very dint of dating her because I wanted to have power over a black woman.
Holy
And
shit.
I was like, I'm racist because, okay, we're done. I'll see you later. Yeah.
Cuckoo.
Yeah. So, okay.
Wow.
Well, you should have come back at her and said that she was secretly harboring thoughts of wanting to be a slave because she knew she'd be happier that way.
Well, and she's calling you racist based on the color of your skin. That seems kind of ironic, doesn't it?
Seems kind of racist, doesn't it? But
Kinda.
she was in the camp that white people can't be, or you can't be racist against white people because they have all the power. And I'm like, well, Obama was president for 8 years. And she said, by the very fact that he was black and in that office meant that he had no power while he was in office. I'm like, you're talking in circles. You're absolutely crazy.
Well, did you ever realize that when he was campaigning to be the president the first time, he was half white? But when he got elected, he was all black. You didn't hear him talking about his white mama in Africa anymore. It was kind of funny. He pandered to white voters because yes, my mother is a redhead, a white pale redheaded woman. And they'd show pictures of his mother when he was little. And it was like, but then once he got elected, he went full. He was a black man. He was the first black president. He was never called the first half black president or the first half white president. It was first black president. I just find that ironic that he changed. He was a chameleon. He changed colors after he got elected. It was kind of funny. But enough about that.
More stories, or are you done with me?
That's up to Brandon. This is his stream, but man, you threw out some whoppers.
Well, yeah. I surely don't want to take up someone else's time. That's not what I'm about. I just, I love talking. So as long as you'll let me.
Well, we got AKS in the stream again.
All right.
So he's backstage.
He sounds just like Bill Burr. His accent sounds just like Bill Burr. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, his accent, yeah, but his voice is a lot deeper than Bill Burr's.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. It's like the way he talks sounded like very much like Bill Burr. I'm sure he'll be like, I don't sound like Bill Burr. I didn't do that very well. I don't have a New York accent. I'm sorry. I'm going to get off here. I'll talk to y'all later.
Hey, Pablo, how are you doing? He's in the chat. Pooping while standing. JLM, how you doing? Trying to see if we missed anybody. Reverend. Mile High Ronin.
I feel like I'm in a fucking job interview. It's like you two are.
Where do you see yourself in 5? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
See myself,
Mr. AKS. Who hurt you?
Well, some people say, "Oh, it was this chick, or it was a whole bunch of chicks," and then you have other people. They have other people say, "Oh, well, if you allowed a woman to hurt you, that's your fault." Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard it. It ain't true, but it's not your fault.
I have come to the realization that I never should have gotten married either time. I'm much
Yeah.
happier being by myself. I grew up by myself because my mom had to work. Most of the time she had 2 jobs. There was one time in my life she had 3 jobs to put food on the table. So I can't discredit her for that. But you grow up by yourself and you grow up in front of a television, a television babysits you. But
And all that
I
conditioning.
I just realized that I am better off by myself. I think about the last few years of my second marriage. I was just like, man, I was so unhappy. I wanted out of there, but it just didn't, didn't happen until it happened. And then once it happened, it was the a couple days before Thanksgiving 2 years ago. I finally said, this isn't working. And she says, I agree. And I said, I'm going to start looking for an apartment. And she says, okay. Called my buddy who manages a bunch of apartments. And I said, I need a place like now. And I moved out the day before Thanksgiving, and her whole family was showing up to the house.
God.
So I moved out the day before a bunch of, well, not her whole family, one sister and all their kids in tow, and mom, and I think dad and his new wife, and they all showed up, and I missed out on that, all that fun. So, but if I could go back and do it again, like we talked about when Brandon mentioned earlier, I never, ever would have gotten married in the first place. But I thought that's what I did not have growing up. I didn't have that family, and I thought that's what I wanted. And no, it's not what I wanted when I look at it now.
Yeah. You don't need to get the state. You don't need to make a statewide contract just to get some ass. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my little brother and his wife were watching my kids, and he confronted her about spending fucking $15,000 on a girls' trip to Las Vegas. Why?
Ooh.
Because apparently the credit card bill came in while they were watching my kids. They were just watching them overnight while my wife and I went to a concert and got fucking shit faced. And
$15,000.
yeah, we come back. We come to pick up the kids the next morning, and there's no wife there, and my little brother says, yeah, she left.
Yeah, the thing.
And when she left, it turned out that $15,000 was the tip of the fucking iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah. The
And
thing.
he in the divorce, even though he didn't spend any of the money, he inherited half of that fucking debt.
Oh man. Yeah.
There was a guy that worked here. He still works for the railroad, I believe. He's just not in this area anymore.
And he got divorce raped.
No, he had a wife that while he was deployed and his paychecks were coming over here tax-free because he was in a combat zone, she was spending all his money, and then she was gambling online with credit cards. He come back from overseas, comes back, and she's got $100,000 in fucking credit card debt.
Oh man.
From online gambling, and he stayed with her. I don't know if I think they're divorced now, because I don't know if they went to a debt consolidation or what, but they got a bunch of that stuff knocked down and everything. And then I think she turned around and did it again. He's finally like, don't, and then he was gone. But it's like, wouldn't have taken the second time. I would have been gone right off the bat.
Yeah.
Pooping, or I know, Reverend said that Bill Cosby hurt him, and it involved a pudding cup. So I'm sure he's got slipped a roofie.
I would have thought he just slept right through it and been all relaxed.
Maybe.
But apparently it hurt. So
it gave him that pudding pop.
Well, I think that we sort of finished up on this topic, and we've been over an hour. So if anybody else wants to hop on, you got couple, maybe a minute or so. If not, we're going to wrap it up. Everybody feels pretty gosh darn justified in the choices they have made, and I'm sure that it's for the best now that we are MGTOW. I know
Well,
I'm a
and
hell of a lot happier than I ever was.
it wasn't necessarily the choices that we made; it was the choices that were made for us too. Involvement.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, you deal with the choices in the hand you were dealt. Unfortunately, the people in this chat, have made it through the other side. If they're MGTOW, I know we have people that are married that watch this and participate, but
Yep.
they understand.
And we've even got a guy in here that ain't never gonna get married to a woman. So
Yeah, it was
We
good
got
to see
everything.
everybody.
yeah.
We got everything. I'm purple pills. I'm blue pills. I'm red pills. Fucking black pills. You name it. MGTOWs.
Well, pooping while standing, it's not a contest to see who got fucked over the most. That's like saying you're the smartest retard.
Or you're the skinniest kid at fat camp.
Yeah. Love
Booping,
you too, Pablos.
Booping, if you want to come on here and say your story, like I said, Shathis put me to shame with his stuff, man.
yeah.
He's been through some crap, man. I feel sorry for the
man, was
brother.
he ever.
My first wife, she tried the get physical thing, and for her, unfortunately, she came up short on that because men and women are not created equal. I'll just leave it at that. Brandon knows what happened there.
Do you guys know a MGTOW is freedom? Big John. You guys know Big John?
I know who they are. I don't know them.
Did you watch their content? Did you watch in like 2015 from Big John?
Yeah.
I didn't because like I said, I'm new to this. I'm trying to catch up on some of the older stuff.
I started watching MGTOW stuff in 2014, and then
Same.
Then I started doing some call-ins. 2019, and then I started making content in 2020.
I was watching fucking TFM and watching fucking Sandman binge watch. I binge watched Sandman. I binge watched TFM and Big John and Angry MGTOW back then.
Think Before You Sleep. Replicant Fish.
I watched Replicant Fish, and I don't even know how he got into the feed unless it just was a video that popped up, and I watched it, and I was laughing so hard. I was like, well, I'm gonna sub to this guy.
I want to go to England just to have a beer with that guy.
The actually only reason I would ever want to go to England or any in that area would be go to the Isle of Man and watch the motorcycle races.
Yeah, you could go there with Riggs.
Yeah, but it's not cheap to go over there.
No.
But watching them rip through the city streets at 200 miles an hour would be pretty damn fun.
Yes, it would be.
What else we got going on in your chat there, Brandon? You got any other takers?
No, I don't believe so. So, Barbarossa was awesome. Spetsnaz.
Who was the one? I forgot his name. Hammerhand did it. Not Vengeance. He died also of cancer.
Liberation Y.
Yes, yes, because he was also known as Archangel, right?
Liberation Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
Liberation.
him and Paul. I was watching quite a few of Paul Proteus's, because I heard him mention. I think on Hammerhand mentioned him.
Liberation
how I
Y
found
was
Hammer-
faceless.
How I found Hammerhand was just a short come up in my feed, and I still can't find it. I need to talk to him and find out if he still has that. It was just a short that he did, and I laughed so hard. I was like, man, whoever put this together, I want to see something else. And I just clicked on his channel, and I've been on it ever since. So, but yeah, I just kind of stumbled into it. I don't even know. I cannot tell you what I did or looked up on YouTube. I don't remember ever saying, I just got divorced and shit sucks. Is it, I didn't search for anything. It's just I was just beating around on YouTube, and I stumbled into it. And I think that happens to a lot of people. I think it happens to a lot of guys every day. There's a lot of guys that are in our shoes that have just been run through the ringer. And I've talked to Brandon. I had 2 very easy divorces. I didn't lose much of anything. I mean, the first one, I had to make payments on stuff that I got all the bills, and I got them paid off. The second one, the ex, because she had a daughter, she wanted to keep the house. So I said, okay. She refinanced the house, put it in her name. And when I got divorced, I had a house paid off on my credit. So, it helped me. I got out of a house payment, and I got on my credit, it shows that the house was paid off. So, that I come out pretty darn good in both my divorces. So I don't have the tragic stories like, Brandon, Hammerhand, other people that have talked about it, losing your kids or having your kids not want to talk to you or get pulled away, and then they get their mind poisoned by mom saying, your dad's a piece of crap and he don't love you and blah, blah, blah. So I've been very fortunate, and then, and I feel fortunate for not having to go through that, but I sure feel for the guys, that are in the chats and in the comments that have gone through that. It sucks. I wish you never would have had to do it.
Yeah. And if they hadn't broken the dream, if they hadn't, broken the social contract that had worked for tens of thousands of years, we wouldn't be in this position now.
Yep.
I'd be a happy little ATM right now. Going about my life. So
yeah. Sometimes life doesn't work out the way you planned it. You just gotta.
No, it does not.
You just gotta go with what card you're dealt and just play it out.
Never give up. The only dishonor you can bring to yourself is by doing a bad job.
Yep. And then just remember that every day that you're breathing, you're above dirt is a good day.
Yep. So remember, brothers, no marriage for obvious fucking reasons. No cohabitation
for obvious reasons.
For obvious reason. Never trust that they're on the pill, because that's what got me into my first one. Never trust their condoms. Protect your seed. And you'll have no children. If you do have children, love them, forgive them. They're just pawns. And eventually they'll come back around. So, peace out, brothers. I love y'all. No homo.
And no simping.
And no simping. Or white knighting.